Alright, sup everyone. So, I'm releasing my first ever EP August 14th, like in a few days, this Sunday. And I'm just making a video on all 4 songs, kind of just going over the whole file, just discussing arrangement, my serum patches, and fucking patterns and everything. Everything in the file, everything in the song, just kind of brushing over it. And yeah. This song is the AU-RA song. I really like this one as well. It's kind of like a fast-paced mid-tempo song. And yeah, we can get right into this. So, oh yeah, one other thing. So, if there is any part of this video that you want me to be more specific on, just leave it in the comments. I'll make another video. I just don't want to spend too much time going over everything in that much detail, but I'm going to do my best to kind of not take up too much time, but still explain everything. So if there's any patches or anything that you want more detail on, just let me know. I'll definitely make a video on it. So we start off here with this noise. Alright. Might be a bit delayed as well because still got my master chain on here. I forgot to take it off. So what this is actually, these are frozen. This was just a, it was just like a serum patch I made, and I have this thing here that it's like a really interesting kind of interface where there's a bunch of just like, you can like set different chords. So I just went in with the serum patch and just fucking played a ton of chords, like really fast for like a minute to see which ones I liked, because I was originally planning on having like a nice melodic structure in this song. Then I scrapped it, and I like to recycle my ideas, so I just froze and flattened that track and stretched it out into this, so then it's just kind of, you can kind of make out kind of the chords in here. Maybe I can undo, I think this is, I can't really get it, but it's just both of these, one's reversed, one's normal. Just add some odd background effects. I'm doing a lot of weird kind of, this is like a really weird EP. I want it to kind of stand out, so kind of like a mysterious vibe at first. So we get into this build here. And I wanted the song to kind of hit you out of nowhere, so that's kind of where this drop and build-up comes from, because there's not too much of a heavy build-up on this section, but on the B section there is. So I just wanted to come out of nowhere, basically. So. Right, so yeah, I just wanted a really high energy, kind of out of nowhere track, and yeah, that's kind of really what the drop sounds like. This one's fairly simplistic, so yeah, let's just go over the elements here. So firstly we have this. Loud, wow. It's just, you know, serum patch. It's my preset. I use this preset all the time. I made it like a year ago and I always use it. It's like a super perfect mid-tempo bass. I do have a video on how to make this exact bass on like all my socials and shit. That's like the all-purpose bass basically. But this one is cut around, I don't know, probably like 80 hertz. Then I have an external sub on here as well. Just get extra low end, you know. So then you have this. Right, you have that. Then for the other section, we have this. And this is honestly just like a wub, but like we're cut off pretty high. We don't have really any low end here. All the low end comes from this, I believe, yeah. So this is like 3 layers here. So let's take a listen to this one first. Alright, and we'll take a look at that. It's kind of like a vocally death pack bass. You get that by using Formant filters. So we have this bass, right? Then we have this bass, right? That was way lower, but we look at both of them. It's the same bass here, but this one's just like, this one's powering my low end, because I was trying to find something that had a lot of low end power. So I kind of separated it out. I had like kind of highs, mids, and then low end. So I can all kind of mix the individual like frequency bands there. So we have just like this extra little bit adding some high end to the track, this adding some nice low end, but it's set to the same speed as this one, so it gives the perception of that making the bass sound, right? Because they all kind of blend together. We also have this nice little fill in here. I think I have some automation. Yeah, to get this sound, it was really weird. I'm always just fucking around doing random shit. So I was like, oh, let me just bring the LFO rate all the way up. And you get that nice little crispy kind of classic mid-tempo fill vibe. So it's nice and crispy. I think it's a really nice fill. So yeah, let's listen to this section. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. This is like pretty simple drop here. I think I do have a formant filter automation here with the cutoff, I believe. Serum, yeah. So this is just adjusting the formant of the sound. So we have that there. So you just get the fucking really mouthy vibe, the type shit, you know? So, and then that just goes to this, which, as I showed you before, it's just our layering here. We just have our main wub, no low end, and we have our low end part, and then our high end, the formant. They all kind of blend together nicely to make a nice thick wub. And that's really all kind of for this particular section here. And the drums, I don't think I touched on them really. It's just like a kick that I processed a bunch. I think I use this on probably about every track in this EP. It's just a nice punchy kick with a drum bus, and I'm just messing around with the transients and everything, trying to get it as heavy as possible, you know, like you always gotta do. Then I have a nice little break, so it's like kind of the B section of this drop. So we have, again, we have the first thing all over again. But as you can see throughout this drop, it all kind of just like flows, and it's not the same thing. It's like kind of constantly changing, so it's not going to get boring and annoying, right? So it's a pretty decent drop for the first section, and then we come back to virtually the same kind of thing we opened with, those nice little chords. But then for this drop, I wanted to, how do I explain this? So we already had like the high energy out of nowhere, right? And if we just do another, just like boom, high energy out of nowhere, it's not going to surprise them. So we needed to bring the energy up for this section. So we were at 140, so I was like, oh, we could probably do some like dope ass fucking drop here, right? Because we're at 140, I could do some crazy like complextro type drop, get people really moving. So yeah, let's take a listen. So yeah, I tried my best to make this drop and build up as high as possible. So yeah, so this is honestly one of my favorite drops on the whole EP. This one's just fucking sick. So we have this damage patch here, right before the drop. Then we start off the drop with this. I mean, this is on every like I don't know, like 4 or whatever. It's just like a like you hear it in like hardstyle or sometimes like techno all the time. It's that just that screech, just adds a little bit of high end fucking twinkle or whatever. Makes your high end crispy, right? Then we just have that one gurgle bass, right, with that low end. We also have this bass. So as you can see, we're recycling nearly all the basses from the first drop. So 1, that saves a ton of time. 2, it makes your song way more cohesive with each other. And yeah, so we're recycling a bunch of sounds here. You can see we have the wub. And this is actually that fill, but I extended it out here. You can see it's the same thing as before. See, that was our little fill, but I just changed the parameter here, and then now it's a whole new sound. Right? And that saves so much time instead of going to, oh, new serum, new sound, I gotta do all this shit until I can get a sound I'm looking for. But if you can just shape it out of existing sounds that are kind of in the ballpark, you make it different enough that it's not going to just sound boring and repetitive, then yeah, you just save a ton of time. So that's that fill. I just adjusted the LFO right here. So there's that. Then I also have this new thing here. So I took a sample from my actual guitar here. And it's just a... kind of had to tone it down. It was kind of hot before, but it goes well with this pluck, so I was like, I want something else. And I was bored, so I just grabbed this fucker and just went. Not like that, I just dropped D and did like a fucking palm mute on it and just went. Right? Ran it through like some Ramfire distortion or whatever. Then I just came out with this, so I guess that adds a nice element. And what else is on here? We have this fill here. It's just one of my plucks. So I have like a whole like subfolder of like my best shit. So I'm like, oh, I want to pluck. Boom, pluck, right? And what else is new on here? I think some of these probably. No, see? That's what was on the first drop, recycled. But we arranged this all in a way that it's not boring, right? So we can recycle, which is good. And there's that. So we only added a few new elements, but this whole drop sounds fresh. But since we're still retaining some of the elements from the first whole drop section, it's still nice and cohesive and just sounds nice. It's not too different from the first one. It kind of still fits the whole vibe of the song. It just fits nicely together. So yeah, that's one thing I recommend doing. Just kind of recycle sounds. Maybe don't use the exact same sound, but kind of just attenuate it, make it a little bit different. And 1, it will save you time, and 2, it will just kind of continue the vibe of the song, honestly, because these are all heavy, sounds, and if I just change them a little bit, they're still going to be heavy, right? So just changed up these sounds a little bit, then had a whole new fresh drop here. So let's take one more listen here. Basic sidechain, right? I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah. I always do it with the utility so I can get really hard sidechains here. If you can take a look and zoom in. Like nice, like actual fucking brick wall drops here. So if you ever listen to 1788L or something like that, those kicks are mixed beautifully because they're just fucking... Like, they have a whole fucking space here, like, it's made out, like, a whole fucking, like, here, kick here, nothing else, right? So if you just want a super punchy kick, just to cut through everything, you can do almost just like a brick wall sidechain here and have very little curvature, right? So that's something that I also kind of figured out is a good way to keep a punchy kick, and it also kind of helps things rhythmically bind to each other, right? Then we have this weird intermission here. like just a sample from that thing when I was fucking around, then just the back. Then we kind of do like a little breakdown of the whole drop here. Start subtracting elements, and pretty soon we get left with about nothing. Oh yeah, and I did add this thing on the end for some reason. So when I listen to this drum pattern, if you ever listen to Deadmau5, it sounds like Cthulhu Sleeps from Deadmau5. Listen to that drum pattern, then listen to this one. It sounds just like it. Like, not exactly, but reminded me of it, so did a little hi-hat action on the end. And then let's just take a tiny look at this master chain here. And that's the one thing that I struggle with the most, mastering, but I think I had a good time mastering this track, honestly. Let's see the loves of this fucker. So we got to 6.5 I'll honestly take just for this section, because this drop is like pretty important. I really like this one. I didn't want to fucking crush it too much, so I kind of gain staged 3 ozones, each one just progressively more and more, just cutting out all those weird odd transients, right? So that's kind of what helped me kind of get my mastering level up, and obviously it's not fucking fantastic, so if you have any tips or critiques about this whole project, please let me know. Honestly, I'm trying to get as good as I can, right? And yeah, so I just have like 3 ozones, and I just kind of dispersing the whole load of this track across 3 of them, so you preserve as many of those transients as possible. So each one is like, this one just cutting off a little bit, this one a little bit, this one a little bit, and boom, -6 LUVS, or FS, I forgot already. But yeah, you have that, and that's really the track. I really enjoyed making this one. This one was super fun, so yeah. On to the next track.